The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good.
Hi, Tom.
How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal Edge. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico and Haan and Paige Clarke.
Well, hey there. Good morning. I'm Paige Clarke, and welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle. This is where we explore a return to a more balanced, natural, wild world.
To recover our natural health and regain our rights and freedoms, and I'm Nico and Haan.
And it is a gorgeous day here downtown Clearwater, 78 degrees, although this morning I smelled smoke from that East Coast forest fire.
Yeah, the wind is coming from the east right now, so probably that's what it is.
So, guys, pick up some of our Primal Edge Daily Nutrition and our Health Signals newsletter. This is news you can use to stay healthy.
That's for sure. Our number here for calling is 877-927-6648. Of course, you can always reach us after hours by email at nico@tfnn.com.
And me at paige@tfnn.com. Hey, Nico,
yeah.
I really wanted to kind of focus today's show on what's kind of going through my news feed, what's trending. And I think it's quite obvious that whether you believe we have a democracy or a republic, that's the truth is we have a corpocracy. We are run by corporations, or there's an attempt of the corporations to run what we do, what we think, what we say, what we eat. And I truly believe we can see now, rather comically, that these three-letter organizations that are part of our government are really kind of funded by what they do with where the money comes from.
Yeah, and it's kind of a triangle.
So
it's kind of the manufacturing hub, the big business people, along with the big media companies.
Oh, yeah.
And the government. It's kind of like a little triangle, and it goes between the three of them.
It's really, really disturbing, and as we know, let's kind of talk about what happened and what you need to know.
Okay.
This last week, the American Heart Association was backing big ag and big pharma companies in a PR blitz to scare people away from coconut oil and other saturated fats. It was like a blast from the past, an ugly blast
It really
from the
was,
past.
because they were using these old reports from the 1960s.
You think they think we're dumb or something?
Well, a lot of people are, and advertising works, and when it's in the news and you start saying it over and over again, it becomes
Repeat a
part
lie
of it.
long enough, and they believe it.
I believe so.
They only used 4 studies, Nico, from the 1960s, and they ignored newer, bigger studies that disagree. And, what we know now is that saturated fat does not cause heart disease. It's more likely that sugar and actually the inflammation from numerous causes is actually what plays a bigger role in heart disease.
That's the way it seems. Most of the research over the last decade is what we're talking about, that we're using for our show, and of course the stuff we experience ourselves. For many years, I used the vegetable oils just like everybody else did, but when I started on this primal diet theory of ancient ancestors, I started using the oils that our traditional ancestors used.
And very few of them had access to oils, period.
You're right.
To be quite frank.
That's true.
Just to be quite frank, we do have to look at the processing of the foodstuffs that produce these oils. And
that is the main thing that causes the problem, isn't it?
It's the processing,
It's
right.
the processing.
But we then have to look at what are they processing. And these PUFAs, or the polyunsaturated fatty acids, that are what are vegetable and seed oils, are the things that do not process well. And you and I have talked about the fact that you can just look down that grocery aisle and you see all those vegetable oils. They are rancid before they even hit the shelf due to the light penetration.
Yeah.
So
and
let's
also
go
due
on.
to the processing itself, because they use high heat. Many times they use chemicals
Substances
to
like
extract.
hexane,
Yeah,
exactly. bad stuff. So what happened this last week that's got everybody bantering back and forth in the blog sphere? The American Heart Association released a rerun, as we said, of the dietary guidelines telling Americans that to be heart healthy, they need to eat processed vegetable oils instead of stable natural oils like coconut oil and grass-fed butter.
Yeah, even though this advice has been led to record levels of heart disease, the AMA chose to repeat it. The report is spreading through the big medium networks, and the internet is largely rejecting the advice, and that's the good part.
That's very cool, folks. Stop and think about that. Just like so many other things that we see, the mainstream media will produce information that the internet is standing up sometimes and saying, I don't believe that. And I think that's a really good sign that we've got some other outlets, although we know there's some desire to control the internet, and that's a whole other ball of wax. But,
well, we've got sites like Facebook, and certainly they do give us a lot of information about what our friends and other people are saying. But it's not just Facebook, it's Twitter, it's every social media. And I'm not that fond of social media. I use it, and we all use it probably because we want to stay in touch with certain people that are farther away. That's the dilemma we have in our modern society. We split up the family, we split up our friends, we've moved out of the neighborhood, and we no longer have that normal support that we would get.
Yeah.
So now we're relying on other things like Facebook and like the media, which to me is a problem.
It is a problem. So this campaign of the American Heart Association, the AHA, is backfiring because millions of people who already know that when they add undamaged saturated fats, such as that coming from grass-fed, perhaps even raw butters and coconut oils and so forth, they are just feeling better, and the health of Americans is improving as a result of rejecting this outdated claim.
If you use this stuff and you start to feel better immediately, you also can look better in the mirror. You have more energy. So if you are taking this and you start reading these things, you kind of are connecting the dots. Hopefully you're not just going blind and saying, I better start back to what I used to do, because you can feel the difference, and that's the real thing.
So let's discover that actually the AHA, the AHA is under the effects of when these big lobbying groups, they do the hard work that, to try and persuade these outlets to continue this ridiculous narrative that now has been proven outdated. Yeah. It was really a carefully planned PR campaign. I think that really you can almost follow the money. People are getting healthier. They're not needing as many open heart surgeries. Remember.
Well, I think the sales of vegetable oils themselves have declined. But also remember, we're trying to push this Western-style diet on some emerging countries that are, just coming into the fold, and they want that business from these countries.
Oh, they want to make sure that people are still buying that, as I said, toxic. Rancid seed oil. Yeah. These anti-coconut guidelines are orchestrated PR campaign that's aimed at changing what we eat to match what is the interests of the AHA's corporate sponsors, regardless of the recent research. This is why sometimes it really irks me when I see people on social media say, I checked Snopes. Oh, that's not a fact, because Snopes is controlled by these same lobbyists and so forth, and they'll say that's not what the science says. Well, we know that the science is often bought and paid for, so we really have to be careful, folks. We'll continue to explore what's going on with the saturated fats and vegetable oil kabasca.
Yeah, well, stick around, folks. We've got a lot more. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Trading is different than investing, but the opportunity to take advantage of short-term trends is only one if you get the direction right. Direction leveraged and inverse ETFs offer bold trades on U.S. and international stocks and bonds. Direction leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
The attempt to get low-fat dogma back into the media isn't working because social media makes it easy for people like you and me to connect directly with the modern-day science, and that flies in the face of the AMA's position today.
You mean AHA?
American Heart Association.
Yeah.
And this thing we're reading from is from Dave Osprey, the bulletproof guy. And he personally, he says that I was personally made sick by the AHA recommendations. This is why, part of the reason why I weigh 300 pounds as a young man. The damage caused by the recommendations are part of why my parents may not live as long as they have.
It's simply not okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. It's not okay for us to be lied to about nutritional information that affects the health of ourselves, our loved ones, simply for the benefit of corporate profits. Are there conflicts of interest in big money? You betcha. Yep. Some of the sponsors of the American Heart Association include a slew of pharmaceutical companies, and it also includes some of the big lobbying groups for Ag Canada, the Canola Oil Company, and others. Did you get that last one, the Canola Oil Company, folks?
That's the rapeseed.
And that's the rapeseed oil and Canola Oil Company, originally designed to lubricate engines, and then they decided that it was such a cheap oil to make since pests wouldn't eat it. Mm-hmm. Pests are smarter than us. That they decided to bottle it for us.
Not for me.
That question with the American Heart Association, supposed to know what's best for your heart, bend to the influences of money? Very obviously they do, folks.
Yeah, these are the same people that approve your cereal and canned soup as healthy.
Their heart check program.
You're right, yes.
And that just floors me to no end. Remember I told you, I was walking down the store and I saw their little heart check thing on the cereal box. And, you know, again, a processed, extruded grain product approved as heart healthy. Mm-hmm. Yet the walnut growers had to deal with lawsuit after lawsuit because they were actually saying walnuts naturally contain vitamin E, and they didn't want that because they didn't, they weren't part of their program.
So after decades of preaching low-fat, high-carb recommendations in the name of heart health, people are getting fatter and sicker. Pretty easy to see. Just go to the mall, movie theater, go to the airport. You can see what our society really looks like.
Yeah, the AHA ignored real-world results, and they continued to ignore every single study after 1973, including many of the newer ones that do not support the AHA's claim about low-fat diets. It's like they got stuck. But they were like, oh, no, we've got all these big money sponsors, and, you know, the old story kind of went along with what they sell. But now that we know that that's not true, we don't want to lose those sponsors, so let's just keep repeating the lie.
And it's not only the sponsors, because the other industry that is really big in America is our heart industry, our hospitals, our doctors.
The surgical standpoint.
The surgical standpoint. So you really got it from both sides. You got a big group in the agriculture that wants this being done, and we also want the industry to keep on going. So we really don't want, from a business standpoint, to fix the hearts. I mean, we want to fix them in surgery, probably, but we don't want healthy people, because that's a problem for our economy.
Yeah, and, you know, as Dave Asbury goes on, Gary Taubes, who's a phenomenal leader in the natural health arena, he wrote the book, The Case Against Sugar, and he was highlighting how they have focused on, you know, showcasing what they want and downplaying the rest of the data. And he wrote a fantastic analysis of why the advisory from the AHA involves more lawyering than actual science.
Yeah, I like Gary Taubes. First of all, he's an investigative journalist, and he has really dug in for 2 decades into this whole problem of the saturated fat and these oils and what isn't. And he has spoken at many of these emporiums, you know, for heart health and for low carb around the nation.
Yeah,
and that's,
but get this, Nico. Even that data, that outdated data from the 60s that they kind of are relying on again to, you know, resurrect this cause, it really doesn't support their own conclusions. So scientists just recently reanalyzed this data from one of the studies, and they discovered that the original researchers left out a bunch of information from the original analysis, and new analysis of all the data showed something completely shocking.
Yeah.
What was it? Every 30-point reduction in cholesterol came with a 22% increase in mortality. I'm going to repeat that. Every 30-point decrease in your cholesterol increased your mortality 20%. Does that not tell you that your cholesterol is actually a very important life-saving product in your body? You read that right. Again, the very data used by the American Heart Association in their marketing campaign actually shows that lowering cholesterol can kill you. In one of the AHA's go-to studies, researchers spelled out that the low saturated fat, low cholesterol experimental diet might be toxic, since they saw a jump in mortality.
Yeah, these 4 trials are the ones that are left after the AHA experts have systematically picked through all the other ones and found reasons to reject them all that didn't find such a large positive effect, including a number that happened to suggest the opposite. So they looked at like 21 different studies, and they threw most of them out because they really didn't match.
They had to find something that
this
would
really
make
goes along with Ansel Keys. Ansel Keys is the guy who did this,
Right.
and then everybody jumped on board because of a business opportunity.
It was a business opportunity to get the money from these rich seed oils, because these seed oils are so cheap to produce because bugs don't eat them. They don't have to do anything.
And this is the reason why some of these cheap oils and even some of the substitute sugars got into the market, because the companies realized that this is a very, very inexpensive way to make things sweeter or to put oil on the market that is easy to process but is very unhealthy. It doesn't really matter what the health is, apparently.
So as we go into this, we're going to talk a little bit, because even in this article it states that, you know, there are many kinds of saturated fats, folks, and there are different ones that do different things. There are some types of saturated fats that can be harmful. Even coconut oil, if you use them the wrong way. And we'll get more into that later. But we're going to go into the problem with vegetable oils, okay? It's hard to say that a fat is good for you or bad for you unless you specify what kind of fat it is, right, Nico?
That's right.
What else you eat it with, how you combine it with your food, and whether it's undamaged fat and oxidized, or if it's a healthy, undamaged, unoxidized fat. Your body is a system.
Right.
And, it's very important that you realize that everything you put into it can really affect it.
Yeah, so there's 3 reasons why these oils harm your mitochondria.
The mitochondria are the energy centers in our cells.
Right.
And they are the ones that actually need the fats.
Yeah.
And they build the mitochondrial membrane. So what happens? Go ahead.
Well, I think we're coming up on a break. But this is really important, folks, because there's certain things that happens with these oils that makes it unhealthy and actually reverses your health. So, and what the saturated fat does, as we know, the real good ones that we're using, is that it really turns this thing around so easily.
And what Nico actually was starting to say is why these vegetable oils harm our mitochondria. The root of all disease, folks, including heart disease and cancer, goes back to these little energy-producing powerhouses that are in your cells and in your body, our mitochondria. And we're going to go into and give you 3 of the ways that these vegetable oils actually harm it, so you can make a good choice. We'll be back after this short break.
Yeah, and take a look at our Primal Exercise area in the brand new Health Signals newsletter. You'll find out the 3 things to do that make you healthy.
Sounds great.
We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
We'd like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And just before the break, we were talking about how important healthy fats are for the mitochondria, the energy powerhouses in your cells. Processed vegetable oils, folks, are terrible for your mitochondria, and the saturated fats from good sources can really help your mitochondria thrive. So why are vegetable oils harmful to your mitochondria?
Well, the first thing is they're really unstable. Polyunsaturated fats from vegetable oils are unstable and oxidized. They're easily processed. They
inflame your heart and all your tissues.
Damage everything.
Yeah.
It's interesting. We tie this right back to what we were talking about the other day when we were talking about glyphosate. Mm-hmm. And we see those charts along with the problem of our health declining, and we see that in a same line. These particular oils all are subjected to this glyphosate, and they're more likely to be sprayed. So if just getting away from these oils and getting away from grains take you completely out of the glyphosate picture as far as the major food groups are concerned, because vegetables are not used this way.
Yeah, so exactly. Number one, they're unstable. Number two, they contain pesticides and solvents.
Right.
And number three,
they're highly inflammatory.
Yeah. You need, they contain high levels of omega-6. And remember, omega-3s and 6, we need some of both.
Right.
But they really skew us.
It's about a 30-to-1 ratio, where normally a healthy animal would have a 1-to-1 ratio.
Mm-hmm. You said a 30-to-1.
A 30-to-1.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly right. It's horrible.
Yeah, so we want to be in the range of 3-to-1 to 1-to-1 ratio, 3 being the omega-6. So we want more omega-6 to balance out the anti-inflammatory omega-3, but we don't want it skewed that high. We don't even want it over 3.
No.
We don't want it at 5 or 10, which most things are, especially in plant life. But in this particular case, with these particular oils, it's like a 30-to-1, maybe even higher in some cases. Maybe there is no omega-3s in there because they've been destroyed by the heat or by the chemicals.
That's right. So what do you eat, folks?
Yeah.
Well, if you've decided that the American Heart Association has no more credibility in your eyes, and you want to be updated and learn the recommendations of what you can eat to protect yourself from heart disease and many of the other metabolic diseases, you want to eat nutrient-dense foods that will boost your performance, mind, and body.
Yeah, in the chat room we have a little message that bad vegetable oils include what? Well, they include every single oil except the types of oil that come from animals, and then the types of oil that come from fruits, like avocado or olives, things like that. And these olive oils need to be protected because you don't want to heat them too much. Mostly use cold.
Remember, we have a lot of people that are unscrupulous, and they're selling olive oil. They're getting a pretty, looks like it's straight from Italy label, and they're just filling it with canola oil or one of these rancid oils. If it's in a light-colored, crinkly bottle, if it's not in a black or dark green bottle and it's not expensive, chances are it's not even real olive oil. Yeah. So yes, olive oil is actually higher in monosaturated fats. Right. But in avocado, same thing. They're more saturated, monosaturated instead of polyunsaturated. We've gone over that, and that might be something good to go over. The seats on the bus.
Well, this really happened in the 50s and 60s. It started, I remember Tom O'Brien talking to me about when he had his pizza place, that he fried everything in lard. Mm-hmm. And then one day the company came around and said, we've got these new oils, it's much cheaper. He never went to use that because he knew the power of lard. But that's how everything got switched. The McDonald's used lard in the first few years. Lard is
lovely.
Yeah.
We probably wouldn't have the heart disease if McDonald's continued to cook their French fries in lard.
Definitely.
Again.
And they spent millions of dollars trying to get their French fries to taste the right way.
Why didn't they just stick with the lard?
Because they got a big incentive, because a lot of these companies got free oil for a year just if they switched.
So again, when you're asking that question, guys, the bad veggie oils are all the oils, with the exception of maybe a little avocado, a little macadamia nut, a little olive oil. But even those, remember, don't heat them. So the cottonseed, the canola, the Wesson, the sunflowers, safflowers, maybe in a raw form, a little bit on something. Just stay away from those oils that you see at the grocery store. And coconut oil is good, but there's a qualification there. And I want to bring this up because this is something that I was actually researching a little bit this week. Coconut oil contains many strains of beneficial fats. Our mitochondria need these saturated fats to make healthy membranes. Mm-hmm. And this can help our gut function and our brain function. Helps you to lose weight and feel better. But there can be too much problem with too much coconut oil. And this is something we're going to do a show on, Nico.
Okay.
Because some of these saturated fats, in coconut or palm oil, can actually escort gut toxins to the bloodstream. We might call this endotoxin. And you and I talked about this years ago.
Okay.
We're dating ourselves here. Okay.
Many
we talked
years
about
ago.
it years ago when we were going over Ray Pete's stuff. And he talked about the lipopolysaccharides or endotoxins. I call them biofilm bacteria and so forth that live in our gut that in the event of a leaky gut can actually get into the bloodstream. So the good fats in coconut oils are called the MCTs, the medium chain triglycerides.
Right.
So one of the reasons a lot of people, such as the Bulletproof community and other health seekers are adding this fraction of the coconut oil is that the MCTs cause you to burn fat, they speed your metabolism, and they block the harmful effects of these gut toxins.
Correct.
So other MCTs do the opposite. That's why it's a bad idea to rely on coconut oil for your source of MCTs. And as we'll get to it in a moment, Mark Sisson, who we also love, explains that we have to be aware that too much of a good thing can happen.
Well, also,
and that the healthiest people that thrive, and all the research that shows the Polynesian cultures that thrive on a 50% coconut oil diet, they're not eating just the refined oil.
Right.
They're eating a coconut.
Right.
With the water and the fiber and the coconut meats and
Well,
fats.
most of the problems with most oils are the manufacturing area of it, and if it's poorly done, then you have problems with any oil, I would say. And the only thing that would be lard and butter and things like that. Those are generally all right.
Right. So to clarify this, a lot of people are running around saying, "Oh yeah, that bulletproof coffee with coconut oil and butter and so forth." Dave Asprey wants to clarify that is why coconut oil in its whole food state contains too many of those MCT oils that can encourage that bad bacterial growth. And that's why the fractionated part, or his brain octane oil, it's the isolated MCTs, and that's why specifically the recipe says to use the grass-fed butter and the MCT oil. He doesn't want to encourage that form of it. So
And that's
a good point
basically
to make.
what I use.
So the confusion which comes from many of the coconut oil marketers is why there's so much contention and conflicting data about saturated fats. Different ones do different things, and what you eat along with your saturated fat determines how many of these lipopolysaccharide gut toxins you have present in your gut. Processed foods made with the hydrogenated palm oil is going to have a different effect than grass-fed butter and on your veggies, for instance. So I think we don't want to go too far off the other edge.
Yeah. I mean, if you take a tablespoon of coconut oil in the morning, that's not going to hurt you. But if now you're dipping it 3-4 times a day,
cooking all your stuff in it, like a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm cooking my eggs in the coconut oil." What?
I use lard.
Use your butter.
Yeah. Butter is great, too.
Yeah.
Okay, the number here is 877-927-6648. Just enough time to pick up some Primal Edge, pick up our brand new Health Signals newsletter, and we'll be back in a minute.
That's right.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to the Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
Hey, and talking about healthy fats, I want to go back to that question in the chat room. What are the bad vegetable oils? What do they include?
Mm-hmm.
I forgot to mention soybean. And how about that, guys? Guess what was in the news this morning?
What's that?
The Soybean Growers Association is going to donate, millions of dollars to the American Heart Association.
Well, they need to, because that's part of the problem,
So
right?
if you go to any restaurant, they're not even buying the canola oil and stuff. They're buying the even cheaper soybean oil. And we know that that's just a disastrous oil. So
Yeah, so if you go to a restaurant and most of the restaurants are using this, so if you want something grilled, even if you want eggs in the morning, ask them to use butter if you're not allergic to butter, or ask them to use lard if they even have it, or maybe just dry.
yeah, many times they'll look at you like, knit their eyebrows at you like, oh, geez, or just get it dry. And I've been known to carry, a little bit of butter, order some broccoli, and I bring my own butter because
Yeah.
I know where it's coming
Good
from.
thing to carry is a little bit of butter, or not butter, but
And healthy salt, like my little
MCT
secret.
oil,
Yeah.
which makes food taste really good.
Yeah.
Some Himalayan salt. I always carry that with me.
I give you my little salt shaker.
That's where I got it from.
Mm-hmm.
So those two things alone are a great addition if you're going out to eat.
Yeah, you can turn toxic choices into good choices by, carrying some of your own stuff. So, as we're talking about these healthy fats and what are unhealthy fats, we want to find out, is moving towards a higher fat diet, which they're trying to shed light on and cause confusion, is it for everyone? So here's an article from Mark's Daily Apple, Mark Sisson. Is the keto diet for everyone? Cautions, caveats, and contraindications. And I think this is really interesting because he's going to be releasing a new book. Extolling the virtues of the ketogenic diet. He's currently kind of going through it himself, and things are going well.
So the first thing is, if you have diabetes, type 2 diabetes, the evidence is pretty crystal clear that ketogenic diets really work better than any other diet. If you're a diabetic, however, then you're going to have certain precautions, and you need a doctor's supervision to get into something like this, especially a doctor that has worked with people on ketogenic diets before.
Well, he says they work very well. If you have them in obese diabetics, a ketogenic diet improves the overall glycemic control to a greater degree than a low-calorie diet, and the studies are supporting it. But as he said, it's always wise to work with your doctor, especially if you've been on medications, and you just don't know exactly.
Definitely.
Number two, when might you want to put caution is if you're pregnant. In one study, mother mice on a ketogenic diet during pregnancy produced offspring with reduced growth in certain areas of the brain and increased growth in other areas of the brain.
Well, it's interesting how Mother Nature works, because when you're pregnant, generally you have cravings. Mm-hmm. And your cravings really don't include animal food. They normally include carbohydrates as a craving. Mm-hmm. Ice cream.
Pickles and ice cream.
Pickle, ice cream.
Well, I think it's calories. I mean, the body's saying minerals. They say like the minerals and the probiotics. I mean, really, women should go with the cravings. But what does the science say, or the maternal ketogenic diets have been shown to negatively affect mouse fertility and slow the rate of growth of the offspring. So from that standpoint, maybe not a good idea to be one extreme during a pregnancy.
Definitely.
Before you start slamming waxy corn in an attempt to knock yourself out of ketosis, there are some caveats to this particular caveat. These were mice. They weren't humans,
right.
When they said that. And they were eating refined ketogenic chow made of oils and powders rather than the whole foods that were based on ketogenic diets that we would recommend anyways. We would recommend real foods.
Yeah, they ate almost zero carbs. Never recommended to anybody, let alone a pregnant one, for sure.
Yeah, and the keto chow fatty acids intakes were imbalanced. Then they had a lot more PUFA oils, or the polyunsaturated seed oils.
And there was an extreme diet designed to maximize ketosis. So this is a special thing for the mice. So, you need to say, okay, this is not the way I want to do it. I want to do it with a little supervision.
Yeah, so pregnancy is not a time to be experimenting. It's a time to get nutrient-dense food across a wide range. And my particular, position is for most people, for most of their lives, the Weston A. Price inspired Wise Traditions diet
no doubt about it.
is really the healthiest diet and gives you the most flexibility.
That's a good way to start your family on this whole thing, too.
Yes.
You're pregnant, you're going to start getting healthy, you're really talking about health, you want your family to be healthy, your husband may come on board, hopefully, and it's all good.
If I had time, I would love to do nothing more than to coach and teach young people how to stay healthy or to become healthy and make healthy people. And I would like to re-educate older people of how they can have these traditional foods, because we see so many older people going to these packaged convenience foods out of fear, and they're taking things
also,
like Ensure.
A lot has to do with income, where you're on a different income when you get to be 65, 70 years old. The thing is, for me, I don't want my last 20 to 40 years of my life to be miserable.
No.
So this is the time when I want to be the healthiest I've ever been. I feel I'm going on the right track.
Yes,
the other thing is, if you're a competitive athlete, it's not the time to start it immediately. You need to have a base of about a year.
Well, that's right, because you really need to have that time to make sure not everyone immediately gets keto adapted. What does keto adapted means? It means that your body has made the switch to burning fat instead of sugar. Yeah. And it doesn't happen for everyone right away. And too many people give up on the ketogenic inspired diet too early, just simply because they haven't been able to. They need a converter.
Yeah. So it can take you a couple of days. It can take you a couple of weeks.
Months, actually.
Take a few months. It can take you a year. And to fully adapt as an athlete, I think it does take you a year. So you want to start competing for 2018, you better start right now.
Okay, so here's another caveat, and this is one that Stephen's been asking me a long time, about, as we got talking about the impact of gallbladder and liver health. If you don't have a gallbladder, you may not do as well on this diet. Kidney stones are, I'm sorry, I'm ahead of myself. The gallbladder collects and concentrates your bile.
Right.
Okay?
It also gives you that big spurt.
Yeah, well, it's stored so that we have it on demand. And if you cut out your gallbladder, your liver's just kind of constantly producing bile or not, which is the real issue as we get older, our ability to produce bile. So, it's super bile that unleashes dietary fat. So without a gallbladder, your liver will still make the bile, but it's not the super concentrated stuff that makes short work of large amounts of fat. So ketogenic diets tend to contain large amounts of dietary fat, and you can still do a keto diet without a gallbladder, but you really have to be careful, and you have to look at signs and symptoms. You need to favor more of the shorter chain fatty acids, like the ones found in MCT oil and coconut, as those are easier to digest and require less bile.
Yep.
So be cautious, and if you don't have a gallbladder, really work with a natural health practitioner who can help you get on supplements that encourage bile creation.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if you have a history of kidney stones, then you really have to be kind of careful. And I really, I've gotten these kidney stones one time. It was a miserable thing, so you definitely don't want them. But I think the ketogenic diet really doesn't produce kidney stones, but the process itself, switching over, probably can. That's the way I kind of look at it.
Like he says, potassium citrate alkalizes the urine and prevents kidney stone formation on a ketogenic diet. And resources are cited. So if your family has a history of kidney stones, include some potassium citrate in your ketogenic diet. A great source of potassium citrate lemon juice. Drink lemon water. So we know that having a squeeze of fresh lemon in your water daily keeps the liver happy. The liver and gallbladder are partners. Great little...
Works for me.
Yeah, a couple tablespoons of lemon juice in your mineral water or regular water, a dash of sea salt, makes for a natural, refreshing, electrolyte-rich drink.
Yes, indeed. Okay, we got another segment left, so stick around, folks. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com. Educating investors. Up next, 9 before 9 with John Logan on TFNN.
Thanks for sticking around, folks. I just wanted to mention that there is no such thing as vegetable oil. All these oils are seed oils. You know, you don't have broccoli oil or asparagus oil or Brussels.
Green bean oil.
Well, that's a bean too. But you're right. It's just it's a whole. They're masking everything.
Yeah,
because vegetables sound nice.
I think that they actually co-opted that word because we assume vegetables are healthy.
Yeah.
So they call it vegetable oil. So really, when you think about it, guys, they've been trying to trick us for a long time.
Yep.
But you know what? We're not about tricking you. We want to tell you, how do you live to be 100?
Yeah, this is an interesting article, how they live to 100, and it's not what you think, because a lot of these people smoke, they didn't exercise much.
Yeah, the secret to living a century and beyond. You know, why you'd think most centenarians or people who live to be 100 years or older would offer up lots of do's and don'ts and diet and exercise, you'd find that their longevity secrets are really something different.
Yeah, and they got 6 secrets here, which is really cool, and they've got in an order of importance, I think. And the first one being a zest for life, something that my dad kind of taught me early on, that you need to be optimistic. You need
How can I be any luckier is what your dad always says, right?
How can I be this lucky?
How can I be this lucky? I just love that. I think about that. I think that's a great way today.
Number 2 is strong family and social ties, something our society has obliterated. It's, everything that we do has to do with work and school. We move out of town. We move away from the people that we love, and we're living with strangers. This is not a way to do it, folks.
Real strong family ties and social ties that go beyond the Facebook computer screen. Number 3, optimism. Having a glass that's half full, not half empty approach. Optimism.
Looking at life on the plus side instead of... And the other thing is a sense of humor, and this is...
laugh a lot.
I mean, we love to laugh. That's why we watch comedians. That's why we watch these
You've heard about people
shows
that actually started to heal from their cancer, watching comedies.
Yeah, and Venus DeMarco told me, the biggest thing that fights cancer is an attitude. A good attitude.
Oh, and a funny attitude. And she's got a great funny attitude. Yeah. And number 5, eating real food. Well, no surprises here.
That's what we're all about, for sure. And number 6 is the one that we tout, that we really need to do this because this is what makes us, good, strong people for our society's hard work is the last on the list here. I think hard work is good, but it's a hard work with something that you're passionate in. We're not talking about going to the factory and doing the same old thing 100,000 times.
And I'll share something. I think it was last week. I went over to my daughter's house, and I just got into pulling weeds and cleaning up sticks, and I had on shoes and I kicked them off, and I just got barefoot and got my hands dirty. I got let all that dirt get in my fingernails, my toenails, and I slept so great that night. I just felt fantastic, and I realized how much I enjoy just playing in the yard. And I hope that you'll take these tips, because centenarians tend to be exceptionally good at expressing love, nurturing others, working hard, being involved in their communities, giving back, and they flat out refuse to stress out about the small stuff, or in most anything for that matter. And my great-grandma used to say, honey, just don't take yourself so seriously. Yeah, don't sweat the small stuff, because it's all small stuff, and maybe we all need to remember that.
Happiness, say centurions, is the key to long life, and research backs this up. In fact, happy people tend to live about 35% longer. Positive thoughts, attitudes seem somehow to strengthen the immune system, boost the positive emotions, and decrease pain and inflammation.
Because remember, guys, be careful what you think and say and do, because your cells are listening. And if you think and say and do, how could I get any luckier? It's a beautiful day. Yeah. I've got a friend, my daughter's friend, her little daughter. Every day she says, this is the best day ever. And I thought, what a wonderful way to be starting this early. I hope she feels that way for the rest of her life.
I hope so, too. And this is the best day ever, for sure. It's right now. We're living it. So,
yeah, because
it doesn't get better than that.
Every day is now, and now is the time for you to live a happy, enjoyable, healthy life. You want to live to be 100, just plan on it. Think good thoughts.
Thanks for sticking around, folks. We'll see you on the next show.
Have a great day.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.